My name is Laura Sheridan, and I am the managing editor for Cadalyst magazine. Thank you for being here. Would you please introduce yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Alan Carter. I work for AtkinsRéalis. I'm the project manager and the lead roadway designer on the I-70 Floyd Hill to Veterans Memorials Tunnel project.
Excellent.
And I'm S.Y. Liu. I'm a digital solutions manager. Yeah, and I've recently helped participate with the I-70, and I implement digital solutions for projects.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Can you give us a brief overview of the project? I know it's a huge project. Hard to put it down to a few words, but just a brief overview and your firm's role on this project.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, very difficult to give a brief description. I'll try my best to be concise. The project is on Interstate 70, just west of Denver, Colorado, about 25 miles west. Really starts at the top of a crest curve. Has a very steep downgrade to an existing sharp curve westbound, and then continues through the canyon all the way to Veterans Memorial Tunnel. So that's kind of the project length. There are a few needs for the project. There's a bottleneck. It goes from 3 lanes to 2 lanes during that stretch. And then that existing sharp curve at the bottom of the hill really causes some traffic congestion. So in order to solve that problem, we're completely realigning both directions, eastbound and westbound, by 70, elevating westbound, constructing a 1 mile long viaduct to fix that deficient curve, and then flatten the curves throughout the canyon for both eastbound and westbound. We're also constructing a new frontage road that connects the 2 interchanges, one at the bottom of the hill, and then the next successive interchange right before the tunnels. We also have some trail reconstruction along there. There's a multi-use path that runs along the creek, so we're reconstructing that with some upgrades, and then we have some kind of environmental upgrades as well too. We're restoring some riparian habitat along the creek that makes for kind of a better outdoor recreational use area.
Excellent. What technology tools did your firm use to accomplish this work?
We used a lot of Bentley products. Yes. So the Colorado Department of Transportation is the owner of the project, and they kind of mandate that we use the Bentley software products. In order to deliver to our client, we're using ProjectWise kind of as a file management system and a document creation tool. We have all kinds of disciplines on the project. We've got roads, we've got structures, we've got hydraulics, we've got subsurface utilities. So we're kind of using the whole suite of Bentley tools, Open Roads Designer, Open Bridge Modeler, Pro Structures. I could keep naming the list, but we're also using LumenRT as a visualization product, which has been really helpful throughout the course of design and the coordination with stakeholders. So we're really using kind of the full suite of Bentley tools, and I think one of the advantages of that is that they all talk to each other, and each of the disciplines really has transparency with what everybody else is doing. We're able to reference everything and do the same model, get it out for visualizations, and it really helps with data integrity.
That kind of goes into my next question about benefits of using these tools. Are there other benefits that you've been able to target?
Yeah, by having all these softwares available in the Bentley ecosystem was really beneficial for us, because we have so many teams with so many types of inputs, so many sources of information. Being able to have a suite that can talk to each other and share information, we saw the benefits of that really quickly, and also being shared on this common data environment, ProjectWise. We could locate files very quickly, like if we had deadline day the next day, we're not rummaging around. So and also because all the information was speaking to each other, we could generate the latest models for say public consultation or government departments, other stakeholders to view in a format they could easily understand, rather than the black and white drawings, that are also coming out from the model. And so having that suite, knowing that what you're showing on screen is a 3D model, is the same as the drawings that you're showing as well, that's submitting for, statutory submissions and things like that, was giving us the confidence, and the engineers, knowing that what they were designing is reflected in the models they're presenting.
Right. And kind of going with that, with the stakeholders, talking to the public, how you used, what programs did you use for those meetings to get the people interested and have a positive idea about the project?
Sure. Yeah. It's it's a very visible corridor in Colorado. It's very heavily traveled. Anyone who's gone to the mountains, whether they're from Colorado or they're coming in to visit, has traveled that corridor. And so we have a lot of eyes on the project. We have, obviously, it's just the stakeholders that are in the area, but also the general public interested in what we're doing. So as S.Y mentioned, having the models, being able to show how the 3D models actually will look in real life versus kind of just a 2D plan sheet in black and white is really essential for that public coordination. And so, so what we use, kind of our workflow is, as I mentioned before, we're using Open Roads Designer, Open Bridge Modeler, drainage design, subsurface design, kind of all of that goes into the same model. And then that's able to be translated into LumenRT for realistic visualizations. And we're able to add some other, kind of realistic features such as vehicles, traffic, some of the foliage. I mentioned those riparian areas that we're restoring. We're able to actually take that design that's on the 2D plans and kind of get it into LumenRT so people have an idea of what that's going to look like in the future. So
nice.
We've built our entire model like that. And that's been really helpful because we're able to sit in these meetings with stakeholders, and if they have a specific question, one I get all the time is, what is the new bridge going to look like from the multi-use path that we're reconstructing, right? And so it's really powerful for me to be able to just fly around in that model, kind of drop down on the trail and look up at the new bridge, right? They have a really, really good sense of what that's going to look like. We've also used some of the export tools in there to create some fly-throughs that we are able to share with CDOT. They're able to then put some of that content on their website for the public to view. We also just create some still images from some of those models, and we've used those on kind of poster boards for public meetings. So it's really just been essential for us in the coordination with the stakeholders and the public using the Bentley tools.
There's also a lot that you don't see as well. Like we were just talking earlier, how what you see above ground is just as much happening underground. The whole geology, using the leapfrog, understanding where we hit the bedrock, because there's several bridges right on the project, and the piers going down, and how far that has to go down. So it's just not just above, but also all the data that's happening below ground.
Absolutely. What challenges did you encounter, and how did you address them?
Well, you could answer that from a few standpoints, I guess. Kind of the biggest design challenge is just working in a very tight existing corridor. Obviously the canyon was cut by a creek over many thousands of years, right? And so when the road was first built, it just kind of followed the creek. Now we've got a higher design speed that we're implementing. When the road was built in the 50s, there were smaller cars, less freight going through the corridor. Now we've got large SUVs. It's a heavily traveled freight corridor, so we've got semi-trailers going through there all year round during some treacherous weather conditions in the winter, as you can imagine. One of the biggest challenges was just how do we fit a higher design speed design through an existing canyon? And so the Bentley tools have really helped with that because they allowed us to create 3D models really quickly. There's also some really nice kind of package tools in Open Roads Designer to evaluate some of those geometrics from a design speed standpoint. by uploading some of the criteria that we have, kind of how big curves can be based on the design speed. And then also site distance is a big issue. Existing is a big issue because the curves are smaller than they need to be. So as you're traveling around those bends, it's difficult to see cars ahead of you. So we also heavily use the tools in open roads to kind of evaluate site distance around each of those new curves that we've designed. One of the other big challenges that we kind of just touched on was the stakeholder coordination and all the public eyes on the project. So, not to rehash everything we just said, but the interactive visualizations and the kind of real-time review of those designs, it was a big challenge to get the buy-in from the stakeholders and just to make sure that we're all on the same page, right, with what we're proposing. Because the earlier that we can do that, then the more successful the project will be.
Absolutely.
And on the digital implementation side of things, that was a major challenge. As CDOT was requiring, the implementation of open roads now, we had to have the confidence to, know that if the software can deliver on our promise, if it can comply to all the CAD standards, comply with ISO 19650, and, deliver on not only our goals, but also what the client wants. So going through the softwares and understanding with Bentley how it can help each individual team was a challenge, and I mean, credit goes to the team, back at home, to pick up that software, and it's really great, I think, on the project that it wasn't just a traditional digital graphics team that was producing all the exports of the 3D models and the renderings and things. It was, some of the videos you saw today in our presentation, who exported them. Actually, it was Alan, the project lead. That's music to my ears.
Right.
As digital lead. So it's really fantastic when that happens, and when the software really works with the engineers. Yeah,
that's great. It's intuitive then.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So looking ahead, how might this knowledge gained from this help you in future projects?
Yeah. CDOT again is kind of in its infancy and kind of adopting the Open Roads Designer tools. Just as recent as summer of 21 is when they kind of moved everything from inroads, microstation inroads into open roads. And so, we've learned a lot in that time, and we've kind of helped our client along the way too, learn how to utilize these tools and learn how to kind of use the full power of these tools. And I think we're just getting started. We've got really good workflows now. CDOT's been great in developing their managed workspace and getting some of those CAD standards set up. But I think there's a lot to be done in the kind of BIM side of things, asset management, digital twins. We are using the iTwin on our project. Really kind of just as a review tool right now, kind of just as a way to get our models, out to our client so that they can look around in them, cut cross sections, be able to view vertical profiles. But I think there's a whole another world of, starting that asset management, tagging elements with pay items, automating quantities. There's just a lot more, I think, that I'm looking forward to working with our client to develop and seeing where it goes.
Data capture is going to be so big, right? Although we're just kicking off construction, we can start thinking about what kind of sensors we want to be having on site to understand what's actually happening in context. Really exciting, and then understanding all that data layers and analyzing that and improving, the way they use the I-70, the possibilities are really quite endless, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, great. Well, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited about the project.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.